did we see? Together we swear.
Okay, so you guys wanted to dive deep into the Mandela Effect, and honestly, I'm kind of excited about this one. It's like one of those rabbit holes you can just fall into for hours.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a fascinating topic, and there's so much to unpack. So basically, the Mandela Effect is this phenomenon where a large group of people vividly remember something a certain way, but it turns out that their memory doesn't match up with reality. Like it's a collective false memory.
Exactly, and it's not just like small, insignificant details either. It's often pretty significant stuff like historical events or pop culture moments.
Right. It's like that whole thing with the Berenstain Bears. Some people swear up and down that it was always spelled Berenstain with an E, but the actual spelling is Berenstain with an A.
Yeah, I remember that one. It's so weird how sure people are about these things, even when the evidence is right there in front of them.
I know, right? It really makes you question the nature of memory and how much we can actually trust our own minds. And I think that's part of what makes the Mandela Effect so intriguing.
Totally. So to help us unpack this, we're going to be taking a look at a song called Shadows in the Mind by Kurt Holes. It's a really cool track that delves into some of the psychological and philosophical aspects of the Mandela Effect.
Yeah, it's a great choice for this deep dive. Holes really captures that feeling of disorientation and uncertainty that comes with the Mandela Effect. You know, that sense that something is fundamentally wrong, even though you can't quite put your finger on it.
Okay, so the first thing that struck me about this song was the line, "What do we see? Together we swear, the past is a blur, now it's not there." It perfectly encapsulates that shared experience of having a memory that doesn't align with reality. Like you and your friends all remember something a certain way, but then you find out that it never actually happened that way.
Right. It's like your whole perception of the past is suddenly thrown into question. And that can be really unsettling. You start to wonder if you can even trust your own memories.
Yeah, it's almost like someone's tampered with your memories or altered the past somehow.
And Holes plays with that idea in the song too, with lines like, "Play tricks in the night, memories fail, truth's getting bent, lies never pale." It suggests that there's some external force at play that's messing with our minds.
Right, like this Mandela Effect is almost personified as some kind of mischievous entity that's twisting our perceptions of reality.
Exactly. And I think that taps into something deeper about our anxieties surrounding memory and truth. We want to believe that our memories are accurate and reliable, but the Mandela Effect challenges that notion. It shows us that memory is much more fluid and malleable than we might like to think.
It's like the foundation of our reality is built on shifting sand.
Yeah, and that can be pretty scary to contemplate.
So how does Holes explore this idea of memory being so fluid and malleable? Like what specific examples does he use in the song to illustrate the disorientation of the Mandela Effect?
Well, one of the most striking examples is the line, "Faces we knew, names out of line." It captures that feeling of something being familiar yet wrong. Like you recognize a face or a name, but it's not quite how you remember it. It's like a glitch in the matrix almost.
Yeah, and it can be really unnerving to experience that,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to people, like imagine seeing a close friend or family member and their face is just slightly off. It's like they've been replaced by an imposter.
Right. It's that uncanny valley effect where something is almost human, but not quite. And that can trigger a primal sense of fear and unease in us.
Totally. And Holes also touches on the idea of history being altered with the line, "History altered, no reason or rhyme." It's like the Mandela Effect isn't just limited to personal memories. It can affect our collective understanding of the past, too.
Yeah, and that's where things can get really messy, because if we can't even agree on what happened in the past, how can we possibly move forward as a society?
Right. It undermines our sense of shared reality and makes it difficult to have constructive conversations about important issues.
Absolutely. And it also raises questions about who gets to control the narrative of history, who decides what's true and what's not, and whose memories are considered valid.
Those are big questions, man.
Yeah.
And Holes doesn't shy away from them in the song.
No, he doesn't. He really delves into some of the philosophical implications of the Mandela Effect. And I think that's what makes the song so thought-provoking.
Yeah, it's not just a catchy tune. It's like a mini dissertation on the nature of reality and the limits of human perception.
I like that, a mini dissertation set to music.
So one of the things I found most fascinating about the Mandela Effect is how it can shake even our core beliefs and values. Holes touches on this with the line, "Standards we hold, shifting like sand." It's like the Mandela Effect can make us question everything we thought we knew about ourselves and the world.
Yeah, it's a powerful idea. And it goes back to that feeling of uncertainty and disorientation that we talked about earlier. When the things we thought were solid and unchanging start to shift beneath our feet, it can be really destabilizing.
Totally. It's like the rug being pulled out from under you. And it makes you wonder what else you might be wrong about.
Right. It forces you to confront your own biases and assumptions, and to be more open to the possibility that your perception of reality might not be completely accurate.
Which is a humbling thought for sure.
It is. But it can also be liberating in a way, because it frees you from the need to be right all the time. And it allows you to embrace the mystery and complexity of the world.
I like that.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, I'm curious to know, have you ever personally experienced the Mandela Effect or something that felt close to it?
You know, it's funny you should ask, because I have this really vivid memory from my childhood of a particular brand of cereal I used to eat. I could describe the box, the mascot, the taste in detail. But when I tried to find it online a few years ago, it was like it never existed. It really freaked me out.
Wow, that's wild. It's like your own personal Mandela Effect moment.
Yeah, it was. And it made me realize that even our most cherished memories can be unreliable.
So where does that leave us? Like, if our memories are so fluid and susceptible to change, what does that mean for our understanding of truth and reality?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And unfortunately, there's no easy answer. Some people believe that the Mandela Effect is evidence of alternate universes or parallel timelines. Others think it's just a quirk of human memory and perception. But whatever the explanation, it's clear that the Mandela Effect challenges our assumptions about the nature of reality.
And it forces us to confront the limitations of our own minds.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. But before we go, I want to leave you with a final thought. If our memories can be so easily influenced and altered, what does that mean for our sense of personal identity? Are we really who we think we are? Or are we just a collection of stories that we tell ourselves about our past? Food for thought. Right. All right, we'll see you on the next deep dive.
See you later.
History altered.